and not really like damage their ego, you know what I'm saying, in hopes that they'll be really good players moving down the road. It's very, very rare that a freshman comes in and he's like the man, you know. So I'm just trying to continue to encourage those guys. They've been doing a hell of a job during fall camp. We got a lot of them, obviously, that are in on the back end, but I'm really, really excited about where we're going to be in the future.
Eddie Smith came in from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Alabama winning, one of the winningest programs in the last decade. What has he brought into your program in terms of leadership and mentality?
Well, I think the biggest thing, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's experienced. You know, you're talking about a guy coming in from a extremely winning program to like historically Illinois hadn't been that, so it's like the complete opposite. And so I think for him, he's brought a mindset. You know, he's brought that confidence to where he can come in and I mean, he has a mentality as well. You know, he just want to get the job done. You know, he doesn't complain about much. You know, he's a very, very smart football player. They did a great job at Bama, and just in terms of developing him schematically and understanding formations and route recognition, that kid sees things before it happens. You know, and he's teaching a lot of the other guys who are in the room with him some of those same things. Like, oh, hey, I'm looking at this guy split, right? This is what he does with his gloves when he's running out of huddle, when he's getting the football. So just little things like that most of our guys probably wouldn't know. You know, Eddie was able to take that from Alabama, or the things he's learned at Bama, and kind of apply here.
We've heard you talk a lot about you want your corners to be resilient and short-term memory.
Yes, sir.
But we know you can coach them through cone drills or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How do you coach them in that element?
Well, during practice, I think part of it during practice is kind of the controlled environment, and I try to cause a lot of chaos during practice. Like, I'm in their face, I'm yelling, right? I'm just constantly in their ear, right? I know I can't mimic 80,000 fans, right? But I'm constantly trying to get in their head, because if I can stress and make practice really, really, really hard for them, game day is going to be easy, you know? And so it's like that old adage, right? Like when you have children as a parent, right? And your kids are Pop Warner players, or they're playing softball, right? One thing they can hear yelling from the stands is the parent's voice, right? That's because you train them throughout their household. You train them growing up. And so I'm not trying to be a parent, but out here on the field, I'm just trying to be as loud as I can. I'm trying to be as hard as I can on them, you know, because on game day, there's no reloads or restarts or let's do it over again, right? And so just trying to put them in that mentality. And I'm also preaching, like, don't be afraid to make plays. You know, oftentimes, especially a corner, right? I think to play corner, you have to be extremely confident. You got to be extremely confident, right? You got to have a short memory. And so, like, just during the process of having a lot of young guys now, you know, like, most guys, when they get beat in practice, you'll hear coaches yelling and screaming, don't get beat, that's the obvious, right? Don't get beat, right? Hear that so many times. Don't get beat, D. Don't get beat. I don't care. I don't give a damn about that. I don't care if they get beat. I don't want them to get beat, obviously, but when they get beat, it's more so me trying to coach them through that. Okay, well, why did you get beat? Start at line of scrimmage. I'm not yelling and screaming because that bruises their confidence, right? Now you got a guy who's ultra aggressive at the line of scrimmage. Now he's tentative. Now he's second guess. I don't want those kind of guys, right? I don't want those kind of guys doing that. And so, especially on deep balls, like I'm like very, very conscious. All right, when the ball's thrown deep, to make sure that I'm coaching them through that process once the play's over, as opposed to yelling at them and say, get out. Because, I mean, I've seen it in this coaching profession. I've seen it as a player. You get beat deep, get out. It's like, no, we don't want the ball thrown over our head on game day, but you want guys who are resilient. You want guys, if they give up a play in the first quarter, you want them to come back in the second, third, fourth, right? They forgot about it. Next play, so.
Well, that's what I want. Was that something that worked for you as a player, or was it like, did you pick up that from a coach that you had? Like, okay, this was something that I responded well to. Did you develop this just throughout the course of your coaching career?
Chris Ash. Chris Ash is the guy. You know, I've had a bunch of amazing DB coaches, but I think Chris Ash just kind of changed my mentality, even when he coached me as a player. All right, until obviously working for him as a coach. Like, he just. When Coach Ash came in at Wisconsin, you know, we had guys in the secondary who were like timid, and they were timid in regards to giving up an explosive play. The coach was just like, dude, I'm not charting you giving up a ball thrown over your head. I want to know why, you know. And then when it happened, he didn't like really yell and scream at us when it happened. I can remember being at Rutgers, and we had 4 corners to go into spring ball. and he pulls me. He walks up to me before practice start. He says, "Hey, Hen, right? The ball is going to get thrown over their head today. Don't yell at them because the ball got thrown over their head. Get on them if they're not hustling to the football." Right? And these guys, I mean, our offense was going up tempo, right? Guys were getting the ball thrown over their head, balls caught on them, right? And all I talked about was them running to the football. And then we move into the season, right? Guys have built up that confidence, right, and that mantra, that attitude. If a ball was thrown, it was like a slant, it was like a hitch, it was like any other throw. When they were in phase and in position, did we give up deep balls? Absolutely, but I don't know. I think he kind of instilled it in me as a player, and that kind of parlayed to me and my coaching style a little bit.
Did you see a little of that during the scrimmage at all? Where you were able to kind of see how guys responded to adversity?
Absolutely, man. I think anytime we have a scrimmage, you're able to get an idea. I think the scrimmage was obviously a great indicator on. It gave me an idea of, especially guys who didn't play as much in games last year. It gave me an idea of who can I potentially count on. But you want your position group to be wired just like you. You know, I'm a live wire cat. You know, I talk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm confident in my abilities. You know why? Because I prepare for that moment. You know what I mean? And so we did get the ball thrown on us deep, but I felt like guys did a great job down the field in terms of being combative, you know, and contesting a lot of deep balls.
So your personality is pretty out there, pretty noticeable. And I've asked a couple of the DBs this, but where does the juice come from? They say you got the most juice. So where does your juice come from, and how much do you think just having that energy every day helps those guys, you know, have their energy as well?
Yes, sir. I think it's part of who I am, part of my DNA. If you meet my father's, I'm just like him. You know what I'm saying? My father has a big personality. He's actually he's a cook down in South Florida. You know, my father was in prison for 15 years. You know, and he got out of prison trying to find a job, and the first place that hired him was it's this place down in Sanibel Island. You know, he's a phenomenal cook, and you got all these people coming in throughout the country, snowbirds, right, from the north. They're going down there, and he makes it his business to get to know these people personally, right, when they come into the store. But this is who he is, you know, and that the good Lord, that rubbed off on me a little bit. But you know what? I think as a coach, especially playing the DB position, if you don't have no energy, like especially corner and DB, like that's a very energetic position, right? Some guys are a little more quiet than others, but our play has to be intense, right? Because one play can literally change the game. And so I just don't want my guys going out there flat, because if we start a game flat, right, we have a flat quarter, right, we have a flat half, we have a flat game. I tell my guys this all the time, right? It ain't no bad days at DB, right? You have a bad day, it's 200 yards receiving, right, and 3 touchdowns. And nobody wants that, right? We don't win if that happens. And so I just always try to kind of push them to the limit a little bit. And if they don't have no energy walking in the room, when they walk in there, they're going to have plenty.